Concluding Chapter 16, Individual Initiative in an Organization, from You Can Change the World, The Christopher Approach, by James Keller. One striking illustration of this occurred in a large city a few months ago. An investigation revealed that there was a growing trend on the part of better qualified teachers of all religious convictions to withdraw from the educational field and go into pursuits where the work was easier and the financial return greater. With reference to one religious group alone, it was pointed out by a member of the Board of Education that of the teachers abandoning the profession, at least 40% were Catholic, while only 7% of those entering public school classrooms as teachers were of the Catholic faith. About the same time, however, one Communist Party member boasted of the fact that 800 Marxists had enrolled as teachers in just one section of the city. The paradox of the situation is this: several of those who had given up teaching for reasons that concerned themselves alone, not the general good, joined organizations dedicated to furthering Christian values and condemning the inroads of atheism and secularism. They made the serious mistake of thinking that joining an organization would be a suitable substitute for their individual responsibility and would dispense them of any personal effort beyond sitting on the sidelines and passing resolutions. Little did they realize they were among the most effective promoters of the very disintegration they were condemning. Nothing pleases or helps those intent on destruction more than to have those with strong religious beliefs withdraw from the highways into the byways. While they were thus subtracting good from the schools, the enemies of our country were adding bad. While they were talking to themselves, the destructive elements were talking to thousands of students. Strangely enough, it did not seem to occur to these teachers that they were like soldiers who desert during the time of war. Even worse, they were more like soldiers who not only desert the service, but turn their uniforms and equipment and arms over to the enemy. Somehow they missed the one big thing: to get into a position where they can do good and to work at it. What would you think if you heard, for example, that several farmers who had prided themselves upon raising crops of superior quality left their farms, then joined an organization to complain and pass resolutions against the farmers who had taken over the lands and were ruining their soil? Farmers who want to produce good crops while preserving their healthy soil actually go into farming. They plow and plant and work at it individually. Very likely, they will form associations for their mutual benefit and for the promoting of better farming methods, and they will find the associations valuable in aiding them in their efforts. But they know full well that all the farmers' associations in the world will not improve agriculture if nobody is plowing the earth, or if the only people who are doing the farming are deliberately destroying the value of the soil. A third danger to be avoided is that of the cliques, a major cause of the breakdown in any group. Everyone must be made to feel that he belongs, that he is part of all the organization's activities, and that he is missed when he is not present. As a Christopher motivated by the idea of being able to disagree without being disagreeable, one of our tasks will be to smooth out intra-group dissension and division. Frequently, this can be done on a personal basis. Other times, of necessity, it must be accomplished in an official way. And before the final reminder, let's remember the Luce, that light. The whole namaste thing, without some of the ways people say that, we salute the truth in everybody, whatever portion that is, right? It's not saying everybody's a god. That's not how you that's not actually a translation of the term. It's an interpretation, but that people have. But A final reminder to spread, illuminate the basic truths that make America as a free, God-fearing nation possible. You will constantly have to meet people. You can't do it exactly the same way as the salesman or the political campaigner. The Christophers is not an organization functioning as such. Rather, it is a group of individuals motivated by an idea. If you were to ring a doorbell, put a foot inside the door and say, "I'm here to sell you on the inalienable rights with which we were endowed by our Creator." Which is much better than this thing that I saw. I picked up this thing at a bus stop. And I think it was a bus stop, or I don't know where I picked it up. Basically, those verses in the Bible about towards the end, in what, James and Peter and stuff. I forget exactly where, about how you're going to face persecution as a Christian and stuff like this. You want to remind people of their, what good the whole thing has to offer you. What bad it can, the new path can, deter. That would be a strange approach. Indeed, it would be fitting, however, for Christopher to join some worthwhile organization and strive to weave the Christopher idea into its activities, its conversation, into every opportunity offered of meeting and influencing people, really and truly to bear Christ. When you are in a club, group, or organization, you'll have to do your share in digging the soil, in going among people, and planting the seed, and cultivating it constantly, so that one day, through the warmth of your love of mankind, gender-neutral thing, we're referring to all humans, right? People take issue with that, so I make that comment probably too much, but, because you love God so much, you will cover this nation with an eternal harvest for Christ. The work is hard, but the reward is great. And in the words of the Scriptures, now is the acceptable time, ... now is the day of salvation. 2 Corinthians 6:2. And, now's the time to realize. Now's the time to actualize. Now's the time to take the responsibility that perhaps one may not have